Welcome to the Pregnancy Help Podcast. We're excited to bring you this first of a new monthly series from the Extend Web Services team, which is powered by Heartbeat International. Each episode will focus on marketing topics specifically tailored for pregnancy help organizations, helping you to enhance your online presence to connect with clients easily when they need you the most. Join Lauren Bell and her Extend Web Services team as they share essential insights on online marketing. And be sure to subscribe to the Pregnancy Help Podcast for your new Marketing Minute episode each month.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Marketing Minute. This is the first episode of the Marketing Minute, and we are so glad that you are here. The Marketing Minute is designed to really break down marketing principles and best practices into simple terms that are easy to digest and easy to understand. Our team is here to help you today to navigate the world of marketing and to advise you as much as we can in the way that you might be most effective in your digital and online marketing. So today I have with me here the Extend Web Services team. Extend Web Services is powered by Heartbeat International, and we provide marketing services to centers, and we have been around for almost 2 decades now. So our team today at Extend and Heartbeat are going to break down in simple terms what tools are available and what tools you should consider having in your toolbox. And then over the next several weeks, as we touch on them just briefly today, we're going to have a more in-depth conversation about each of these tools that you can have in your marketing toolbox. So we hope that you'll tune in again as we dive deep into each of these tools that we'll talk about today. Obviously, the foundational piece of your digital marketing plan should be your website. And Tim is our web specialist at Extend. I'm going to turn it over to Tim to give a brief overview of some best practices and some key elements of your website that are important in order to have a strong web presence.
Thanks, Lauren. One good thing about the pregnancy help movement is we have come around to the fact that digital marketing is necessary and websites are necessary. When I first started in the movement, we had a really difficult time explaining to centers that your website really is important, or at least concreting the idea of how important it is, because it is a foundation of digital marketing strategy. Women that are in these situations are looking online. It's important that you're able to be found in the places they're looking. We shouldn't be playing hide and seek with them. So website's foundational. I don't need to go into a lot on that, but some of the things that are important, I think, to at least touch on are, understanding the design and user experience elements of a website, without going too in depth, understanding what is trending as far as, something that's engaging to clients, from a layout perspective, from a imagery perspective, colors, all that kind of stuff that kind of flows together to make your overall visual and interactive aspect of your website. Those are all things that are important to look at. Having a website that you built even 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago isn't going to cut it anymore. Mobile responsiveness is important because the majority of our target audience here are using their phone. They're not so much on a desktop anymore, so much as they're on a mobile device. So that's important. It's also kind of important to understand SEO. A lot of people hear that term and they're confused by it. First of all, SEO stands for search engine optimization. Search engines being, Google, the big one, but also you have things like Yahoo, Bing, and some of the others. It's important to have your website optimized in a way where you're essentially rewarded by those search engines. Google has algorithms in place that look at the content of your website, look at the quality of your website, not just the content, but the quality of the design. They're able to determine if this is going to be a good experience for their own users, so whether or not they should send them to your site. Page speed, how fast your website loads. Again, especially if they're on a mobile device, maybe not the best network, you want to have something that actually loads on their phone. Content is king when it comes to that area. So having good content, having updated content, you don't want to write something, and then leave it there for 3, 4 years and just assume it's going to continue to do well. Things change. Google looks to see if centers are updating information to make sure it's relevant. A great way to do that is through blogging. If you don't have a blog already, we highly encourage you to look into that. It's a simple way to get new content on your website, relevant content. It can be something timely. You could be talking about a particular season, something that's going on in your community or nationally. You can have information on the services you provide. You can have helpful resources that are giving practical tips on, anything from dealing with peer pressure to have an abortion, or the importance of, prenatal care, and the importance of ultrasounds before deciding on a pregnancy decision. Any number of relatable things that are generally helpful um, can really help from an SEO standpoint, as well as give your visitors to your website a sense of, okay, these people know what they're talking about. Hey, this is actually helpful information. I like these people. It gets them comfortable with you, and it's a good way to encourage them to reach out for more information.
All right, Tim, thanks so much for giving us all that information. Can you kind of unpack for us the ultimate goal of SEO? Why should a center make that investment into their website?
So the most obvious reason is to rank in search results. Investing in SEO gives you an opportunity to better appear in the type of searches that your target audience is looking for. If someone's looking for pregnancy help in your area, any number of search terms, having quality SEO gives you a better opportunity to appear higher on that page, because page one is extremely important. But I tell you what, appearing in the first few results is even more important, because if you're like me, and if you're like the audience we're trying to reach, they typically aren't going to go past the first three or four options when they're searching for something. So it's really important to appear high enough on there so that you're reaching these women.
Absolutely. And I love what you said about blogging, the importance of having dynamic content and relevant content on your site, and how blogging keeps your content fresh. It connects with your client in fresh ways, because you have a number of topics that are going to be relevant to that client.
Hmm.
It also gives you a tool that can be cross-connected through your marketing plan. So if you have a blog that's on your website, don't just leave it on your website. Utilize that in your social media. Share that across multiple platforms where you're marketing in the digital world. Don't just think one-dimensional about your marketing plan. You want to continually be looking for connection points and tying back to your website through all the other tools that we're going to kind of unpack in this podcast. So thanks so much, Tim. So you've got your website or websites in place. You've got your SEO bolstering the ranking and the effectiveness of your website. You have your blog going, keeping your content dynamic and building that SEO as well. And then is that enough? Like, a lot of centers just stop there. They have a website out, and there's nothing supporting that website and helping that website to reach the maximum potential and amount of women. And so let's look at other tools that you can add to your marketing toolbox to help that website be its most effective, and to reach the most amount of women online possible. And so I have Jack Pickering on our call today. He is Extend's digital marketing specialist, and Jack is our Google Ads guru. So really all things Google guru. So we're happy to have him here today. And Jack, could you just kind of talk to us about the importance of pregnancy centers having a Google ad campaign going?
Yeah, so as Tim alluded to earlier, it's vitally important for pregnancy centers to appear within the first few search results on the first page of Google search. And this is incredibly hard to do organically. And that's where paid advertising comes in on Google. And essentially, one of the foundational components of Google Ads is bidding on relevant keywords. So when you have your pregnancy center and you set up a Google Ads campaign, you want to look at what keywords are the most relevant with regards to your business and your business's offerings. So in the context of pregnancy centers, you would want to look at bidding on keywords such as pregnancy care, pregnancy help center, women's pregnancy care, abortion alternatives, anything and everything that is relevant to your center and the services that your center offers. by essentially paying for each click, pay per click, you're ensuring that you have a much better chance of appearing higher in the search results when someone logs onto Google, enters in a search query such as pregnancy help or pregnancy center, and then your center's website will then appear higher in the search rankings. You can see the ad quality as well as the keyword quality strength within the Google interface. So you can see if your ad is ranking poorly, if it's good, or if it's excellent. That will determine as well where your ad will rank when someone makes a relevant search query. So that's a good tool to utilize and to make sure, okay, I need to have all my ads ranking at the excellent level, because if your ad ranking is poor, then there's a higher chance that you won't appear within those crucial top 5, top 10 spots on the first search results page.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for unpacking that for us, Jack, and sharing the importance of pregnancy centers having a Google Ads campaign. Now, something that we hear a lot, a question that we receive is, it's no secret that Google is not friendly towards our work. They are not fans of ours. What would you advise a center who has hesitation about paying Google to advertise? Why would you still advise someone to do that?
Yeah, I would say that this fight that we are pursuing against big abortion, they have a lot of money, they have a lot of financial backing, and it is just vitally important that pregnancy centers come to understand that they need to put some type of financial backing behind their own advertising efforts. And that's not to say you have to blow the bank on ads, but you have to be realistic, especially in the landscape that we are in. Being able to buy space online through advertising is incredibly competitive, and it's harder and harder to advertise simply through organic means. So it is kind of part of the times now where it is a pay to play environment, very much so, especially when you are looking into digital advertising. So I don't want to scare anyone away and say you need to invest all this money into advertising, but I would say that you have to be realistic. You have to look at the enemy, look at what they're doing, and you have to realize, okay, there needs to be some financial backing if we truly want to have some kind of a foothold in this fight. Otherwise, your organic efforts won't bear the fruits that you want them to ultimately.
Well, absolutely. And another key component to all of that is that Google is where she's looking. This is where she's searching. I know there are billions of searches that happen on Google every single day. And so being present in the space that she is searching is key to a good marketing plan online. So we've got our websites in place. We have Google Ads supporting our websites, and we're in a paid ad space and bolstering the effectiveness of those sites. Another tool that we should have in our toolbox is, of course, social media. And social media can be a real sticking point for a lot of centers. It's an ever-changing world, and that can be frustrating. It's a world that can be hard to grasp and hard to understand. But Morgan is our social media specialist. And Morgan, what would you say to a center who is struggling to gain traction in social media?
Social media plays a pivotal role in the marketing community, especially in the pregnancy help community, because when you think about the audience that you're wanting to bring in, normally it is women ages 16 to 25 to 30, in that range. And you think that is a big range that most likely has social media. So when you're thinking about how to reach that audience, social media, that's where it plays a huge role in the pregnancy help community, and just how to expand your reach. So the first question when thinking about social media and how to get more traction, more engagement, is finding out who you're trying to reach. Who in your area in your state, it's different state by state, area by area, but who are you trying to reach? And that can go for age, interest, ethnicity, anything like that to identify your target audience. And audience as well can change year by year. You never know. But typically, we're finding that centers are really wanting to hone in on abortion minded women ages 16 to 25 or 30. So, first thing, most important, finding your audience. That way, when you start creating content, you can kind of tailor your content, your posts to the interest and that intended audience better. So, when you're thinking about content creation, you want to think about what do you think will resonate most with your target audience. So, some examples could be posts that are encouraging, inspirational, educational, informative, anything like that. I found personally that a mix of all of them really reaches your audience because you're tailoring to different kinds of interests and needs of the people you're trying to reach. Obviously, there are different platforms. You have Instagram, you have Facebook, you have Twitter. A lot of people are now looking at TikTok. What is drawing people in which platform? And that is where social media metrics come in. If you really want to find out what content and what platform is reaching the most and expanding your reach the most, metrics plays a huge role in that because that way, typically each month, you can look at, okay, what post did the best? What post reached more people? Which post had the most engagement? And that way, each month, you can kind of tailor your content to that of saying, hey, this inspirational post saying you're not alone got 100 likes versus this educational post for this month got 20 likes. That way you can just kind of test out new content ideas, new post ideas, new caption ideas, and just figure out, okay, what is reaching my target audience the most. Obviously, strategy is very important, but the way to figure this out is consistency in posting and consistency in figuring out the metrics, figuring out what's working, and really providing a good experience for these women and just showing your center as the most trustworthy and supportive center you can.
So Morgan, just to kind of elaborate on that, I mean, with all things in marketing, it's always measurement and adjusting, right? So it's always measuring and adjusting, and social media is no exception. It takes the guesswork out of what's working, what's resonating with your audience, what's connecting with that target client, and you can utilize those metrics in all areas of your marketing. Of course, you don't want to have just guesswork in marketing. You want to make sure that you're being very strategic, very scientific about it in a sense. Know who you're trying to reach. Know where they are on social media. What platforms are they using? Understand that. Do your research. And then keep your content fresh and relevant and dynamic. And also be posting very regularly and testing out what works and re-strategize. Very good. Thanks so much, Morgan. I appreciate just all your insight on social media. And I know you've had just some great success with our clients and continuing to develop strategy around that. So thanks so much for sharing. Another tool that is super important to have in your toolbox and is often overlooked, I feel like, and often sort of minimized in its importance, but your local search listing is just a vitally important tool that you need not ignore. Tim, could you explain for our audience today the importance of protecting your online reputation and having local search listing management in place?
Sure. So real quick, I guess I'll kind of share a bit about what local search is because a lot of people have no idea what that term even means. Local search is generally referring to managing and optimizing your business listings as they exist in numerous places on the internet. The prime example of that is your Google business listing. If you're not familiar with that, if you do a search for virtually anything, particularly something that, maybe in your community or whatnot, I mean, if you pull out your phone or your computer and type in, pizza, one of the first things that's going to appear, generally after ads is a kind of a 3-pack of businesses that are local to you. It'll have the map listing and it'll have information on those businesses. Those are Google business listings. And if you do it on a phone, you'll see it's the first thing after advertisements. On a desktop, it's generally either up top, the first thing again after ads, or sometimes it's over on the right-hand side, but it's very prominent. So it's a excellent way to get in front of potential clients and folks in a very prominent way. I mean, it takes a large section of the screen. In addition to Google Business, there's dozens of others. I mean, there's your Yext listing, there's, Yahoo and Bing, and, your maps on your Apple Maps listing. There's a ton of them out there. And having your information not only correct on there, if you ignore them, sometimes you have an old address or an old phone number, or somehow your pregnancy center director's phone number has gotten listed as the number to contact on, their cell phone. We've run into that kind of thing. It can cause problems. It can cause headaches. It can be confusing to clients. You may miss opportunities there. If you don't exist on them at all, you're missing big opportunities. So local search is a term people aren't familiar with, but it's a service that you would recognize. And it's important to be managing those things and monitoring them, not just from a proactive standpoint of, okay, I'm marketing with this, I'm reaching people with this, but it can be a defensive thing as well. That's a very easy place to be attacked online. There are reviews that can be left on the majority of these types of listings. Google is a big target for the opposition. They'll come at us. Sometimes there's full-fledged campaigns. There have been instances over the last 5-6 years where organizations have gotten together and had review-a-thons, which is basically, hey, everyone get together, get a girls' night and have some wine and leave fake reviews for pregnancy centers. It's not something I'm making up. It feels like it should be, but they've advertised that kind of thing. Like, hey, let's tear these folks apart. Expose fake clinics was a big one a few years ago. All these places, and so having those listings monitored so that you're, number one, alerted to these fake and negative reviews happening. But also it helps you to manage them. Depending on the type of review, the content of the review, that kind of stuff, you may have opportunity to have the review removed. If it's for one reason or another, something that can't be removed, you have some strategies for minimizing the negative impact of the fake or negative reviews. So at least being active with that is important, but having someone that is knowledgeable in the area of local search and some of the strategies out there can be really crucial when you kind of get into the hot water of, oh, okay, I just had 13 fake reviews on my listing and now I've got a 1.4 star rating, which if you're like me, you see 1.4 stars, there's no chance I'm even clicking on it.
So do not ignore your online reputation. A lot of digital marketing is building your reputation, building your credibility, whether that's through social media, through your website, through your Google ads, but certainly your local search listing needs to be managed. We recommend being managed by professionals. If that's not within your budget, then you can always give us a call and we can help you navigate some of those issues that come up. All right, so far in our toolbox, of course, we have our websites. We have Google Ads surrounding and supporting our websites. We have social media also supporting our online efforts. And we are in the space that she's in. That's one of the most important tools. And then we have our local search listing management and making sure that our online reputation is protected and is not being destroyed by opposition. And then lastly, we want to touch on a very important tool that is not in the digital realm. But when I talk to clients, I often ask them, what are you doing in your community? So Jennifer Ellis, I know you have been in the pregnancy help world, both on the front lines and centers, and now with Extend and Heartbeat. So could you just kind of give us, our audience, some tips on how to engage their community and the importance of engaging their community?
When it comes to community engagement with your clients or even your potential clients, there's a few things we want to think about. And these are important in all of the marketing aspects that we already talked about as well. Like, who is the client? What's her age? What does she do for a living? Is she a student? Is she not a student? Is she working? Where is she working? Think about, how is she getting to your center? Is she somebody who walks there? Does she have a car and she's driving? Is she taking public transportation? All these things are going to play into the type of community engagement, the community outreach tools that you use for your clients. Do you know what type of home that she's coming from? What are the needs of the women, the families, the men in your community? And what type of community outreach events are not only going to appeal to them, but meet the needs that you are seeing in your community? Knowing your demographics in your community, who it is that you're looking at helping, and what help you can provide for them, and gearing any events that you host or community events you choose to participate in towards that, toward who she is, who her family and friends are. Some client-centered outreach ideas where you can help the community the most become familiar with you, meet you, and most of all, learn to trust you. You want the women and families in your community to know that you are a trusted place that they can come when they need support, when they need help, when they're facing an unplanned pregnancy, when they run out of diapers and wipes, when they run out of formula, when they need baby clothes, when they just don't know what to do next in their parenting. You want to be the first place that they seek out. So you want to tailor everything that you're doing community-wise to being able to serve them in that way. Some ideas that you can do: try hosting an open house at your center where people from the community can come through for a tour. They can learn more about what you do and how you're ready to serve the community. Maybe some of the people who attend won't need your services now, but they'll know where to go when they or a family member or a friend do need your help and support. You can do a community diaper and baby wipe giveaway. We see that a lot with some of our customers, advertising that on their websites for their communities. Very, very successful. Obviously, that's always a need. And we know with the cost of things nowadays that many of our clients are in need of just the basics for their baby. And we want to be able to meet that need. If your clients drive to the center, they're more than likely going to need a car seat. So you can try hosting a car seat safety class, asking a local firefighter or police officer to come talk about car seat safety. Maybe the client could earn baby bucks or points from attending your classes towards that car seat purchase from your baby boutique or store for attending. And be sure that you're advertising these events on your websites, on your social media, wherever you know that potential clients are spending their time. In Starbucks, in Panera, if you live in a community with a college, around the campus, in the places where the students hang out and where you know that there might be single moms. Trying to create a relationship with your local university or college is huge. Setting up a table at their fairs with giveaways like pens or lip balm or candy or t-shirts. Food's always a winner. Have some pizza at your table and you're going to be the popular table at the community fair at the university. Being present in any community social service fairs or events where tables can be set up and women and families can learn about the life-saving support that you can provide. Meeting with local schools, setting up appointments with the guidance counselors or school nurses so you can provide them with the information about the services you provide. Meeting with local like-minded physicians and providing them with information about how you can serve patients that are coming to them facing an unplanned pregnancy or in need of parenting guidance, material assistance.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jennifer. That is a wealth of information and certainly gets our audience just sort of jump started on how they might engage their community if they're not doing so already. Thank you so much today, team, for sharing. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I know we've given you a lot of information about a variety of tools that you can have in your marketing toolbox. And I hope you'll stay tuned over the next several months as we go more in depth with each of these tools and discover how they might serve your center best as you're trying to reach women and connect with them and bring them into your center. And of course, the result of that is lives saved. Thank you so much for all you're doing in your community. Thank you for your hard work to reach and rescue lives. And we hope you have a great day.